I gotta remember that we're in a we're in a space where there's cosmic energy happening, and then it's called Mercury retrograde. I have to remember that. I have to remember that that's what's going on. And you guys out there, you guys got to remember that that's what's going on too. It's this cosmic energy where the planets are not moving as fast as they're supposed to, or something like that. It's an alignment. But yeah, the sister was putting some information on me last night. So, she said it's in the fire sign, which is not good. So, I have to make sure that I'm fully aware that that's what's going on. Has people a little bit more on edge, but a lot more on edge. And like this morning, right? Two things happened, but I'm only going to speak on one. I had stopped by the bus terminal in my area before I jumped on one, and I went in there because I noticed that it was a little bit warmer than I thought it was going to be. So I was kind of overdressed, so I took the shirt on that I had on under my hood. I took it off. So the bus driver, but I didn't know it was the bus driver at first. So somebody came into the bathroom and knocks on the stall that I'm in. And I didn't say anything. So, when I came out, I'm like, oh, okay, it's one of the bus drivers, right? They need to use the bathroom. All good. So when he goes in there, he says, and you didn't flush? So I'm like, yo, like, what's wrong with this guy? But I remembered Mercury retrograde. So there's this crazy energy going on right now, this crazy cosmic energy. So I said, well, for one, I didn't use the bathroom. I just came in here just to take the shirt off that I had on under my hood. And then he didn't say anything. So before I left out of the bathroom, I said, don't assume things, Papa. You could end up having a bad day like that. And, it just was like, yo, like, in the morning, it seems to be more heavy, like that kind of energy, whatever she's talking about. She broke it down to me in full detail last night. So I have to remember that. I have to keep that in the front of my mind, that's the energy that I'm dealing with right now from people. We're going to end up absorbing that a lot, because people want to get rid of that bad energy, or people are just unstable right now energetically. So I have to remember. But, yeah, that. And then, when I was getting some breakfast, I stopped at a local spot, and I was getting some breakfast, and this woman was just acting real weird, man. She came in, she seemed to have good energy, but the way she was moving around just had weird energy. It was like she just, she just had weird energy, man. And it was only me and her in the store, and it's like, out of all of this space in the store, you choose to keep standing right next to me. I move over here, she moves over here. I move over there, she moves over there. And then she kept lifting up her jacket, so I could look at her figure, or, like, and I'm like, yo, come on, man. Like, trying to throw me into lustful thinking or something like that. I don't know what was up with this lady's energy, but yeah, I'm like, all this space in the store, and somehow you keep ending up like right next to me. And I kept moving because I'm like, yo, like, what's up with this? But anyway, so I ended up speaking about both. So now I'm just like, Mercury retrograde. I got to keep repeating that to myself, so I don't forget that that's what's going on. So I don't end up getting into a bad mood or, bad energy. But, yeah, it's a lot of that going on right now. So, sitting under the sun, being rejuvenated. And I was reading the book of Judges. Now, this is the thing with the book of Judges. In the beginning, chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, um, I started to ask myself, like, because they asked, and people asked, well, who will rise up to fight for us, or who will step up for us? And he said, Judah will step up. And you know, the people of Israel going out to conquer different lands and kings and things like that. And this is the thing. I'm like, well, you know, he's they're taking over lands and things like that, which seems a bit aggressive. You know, which seems a bit aggressive. And now I can understand why people say he is a god of war. You know, because he led these people into doing these things, and it's pretty violent stuff, but a lot of violence in the Bible. But even just in like in the first few books is like it's a lot of violence. You know what I'm saying? So it just made me ask questions like, well, damn, like that's a lot. It's a lot of fighting, to take over. They took over Gaza. There's a lot of things going on in Gaza right now. You know, those people took over Gaza, and then it made me think about the actual place of Israel and what's going on with them in Gaza. And I'm like, man, like, okay, I know I got to keep reading so I can have a full understanding, but and I do understand that whatever's going on over there has been going on for a long time. Um, I don't know who's right or who's wrong. I haven't an idea, but I'll keep that idea to myself. But I do not support the genocide of any people. You know, but um, yeah, it just raised a lot of questions in my mind. So interesting stuff going on in the Book of Judges so far. Um, and I'm just gonna keep steaming forward with it, man. Keep reading. You know, keep reading. Keep getting a better understanding. Excuse me. Um, keep processing it into my mind, into my heart. And like I said, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read the book 5, 6, 7 times, many times it takes, so I don't need it until I don't need it. So stay in prayer, heavy prayer at this time. It's very much needed. Very much needed. And then I was also reading Matthew 5 verses 11, 12. It speaks of being persecuted. It says being persecuted, be rejoice in your persecution, because basically that's you know that means you're doing it right. That means you're doing the right thing. And the prophets before you were also persecuted. So don't feel bad about what you're going through, or what you may go through, or what you may hear about yourself that isn't true. Because I've already heard a lot of things about myself that isn't true. But that's what we have to deal with, right? That's the path that we've chosen. You know, this is what comes with it. So yeah, stay in prayer, heavy prayer right about now. Just stay on the right side of things. That's all I can really say right now. Just stay on the right side of things. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna go through things. You're not gonna handle everything and everybody in every situation perfectly. And that's okay as long as you are rooted in righteousness, as long as you are rooted in the word and in your faith and in your journey, you will center. You know, I am nowhere near perfect. Nothing, um, no stretch of the imagination, am I perfect in any way. Um, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've paid for them. Um, I made amends with myself. I made amends with a lot of people that I may have rubbed the wrong way, or said things or whatever. I've went back and I've um, said the right words to those people to let them know that, hey, in those spaces that I wasn't myself. I was just in trying to figure out life, what I'm really supposed to be doing. How I'm just supposed to go about things. Excuse me. And in that space, that survival space, that space of just not knowing anything and not knowing which direction to take. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had good direction, and I've had um, good leadership throughout my life with with family and things like that. It's not a shot at my family because they did the best that they could. Um, they did everything that they thought was right. I didn't have a crazy upbringing. It's just once you get to a certain age, and that's everybody. Once you get to a certain age and you start experiencing life and you start going through different things, that's just what it teaches you. Okay, if I want uh, a $200 pair of sneakers, right? And my family says, well, no, we won't get you a $200 pair of sneakers, but we'll get you, you know, an $80 pair of sneakers. No, but I want the 200. Okay, then I have to learn how to become an earner so I can get the sneakers that I want. So you get what I'm saying? So that's really where I made a lot of mistakes at. So just figuring out how to be good at earning money and um, you know, just becoming a teenager or young adult, and then becoming even more of a young adult. In my 20s and 30s, made a lot of mistake in those years. And I've had a lot of cool things. I've had cars. I've had places. I've had jewelry. I've had a lot of cool things. I've experienced some highs in life. And yeah, yeah. I've had love. I've had a couple girls that I was really in love with, and things didn't work out. I take accountability, like I said before in previous videos. I take accountability for those things not working because I should have been better up here. And yeah, they made a lot of mistakes too, but I don't blame them. Now that I understand where I am in God, I don't blame them. As the man, I take full responsibility for those relationships failing. But that's okay. And even then, I've gone back and I've said what I needed to say to them too. Like, hey, listen, please forgive me for being selfish because I just didn't understand. I didn't know. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing in at that time in the relationship when we were actually together. I just didn't know. I didn't know how to handle certain situations and go about certain situations. They thought I was being nonchalant, and I didn't care. I'm very nonchalant when it comes to stuff like that. When it comes to religion, I'm very nonchalant. It's like, oh, okay. And a lot of times they would take it like, oh, yo, he just doesn't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not that I didn't care. It's just that I just didn't understand what to do with what you were placing on me. If that makes sense, does that make sense? So, yeah, remember that it's Mercury. Why do I mess up on that time? Mercury retrograde. I'm always about to mess up when I gotta say that. I don't know why, but stay in faith, stay in prayer, stay rooted in your path and in your journey, man. Bumps and bruises are gonna come along. It's gonna get hectic at times, but don't let it deter you. Don't let it throw you off. It will throw off your energy at times because that's what we're dealing with: energy vampires, narcissists, all of that combined. Just do the best you can and navigate it the right way. Stay in righteousness through it all. Just handle it the right way. Always forget. You always ask yourself, how would God handle this right now? Even though you aren't God Himself, we aren't God. We can't be Him. And how He would have handled it exactly. But we can be a representation of Him and handle it as best as we can and as close as we can to what He may do. It's just that we don't have His power. We have His consciousness, but we don't have His power. So, and I do believe that we can obtain His power if I think it takes great focus and great discipline to actually be blessed with His actual power. But that's just me. That's just my thinking about it. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I'm gonna stop and